Apex on here, and I just want to welcome you to Introduction to Intermittent Fasting. If you're looking to improve your overall health, increase your brain cognitive function, lose weight, and feel great, then you're in the right place. In this course, we'll dive deep into what intermittent fasting is, the history of intermittent fasting, and how to use it effectively. Also, I will tell you guys my personal experience on why I've been using intermittent fasting for the last 15 years of my fitness journey. So strap on and let's dive deep into this. What is intermittent fasting? There's so many misconceptions when it comes to this, right? Scientifically speaking, intermittent fasting is not necessarily what you eat, but when you eat. It focuses on cycling periods of when you should be eating and when you shouldn't be eating, which allow your body to actually go through the process of utilizing its reserve that is already in there effectively and then replenishing it, right? So intermittent fasting, put simply, just allow you to utilize the excess calories that you already have stored in your body, not keep overindulging, right? Giving your body time to function well. If you look at your body as a machine, you're going to need processing time, right? And that's what intermittent fasting does. It gives your body processing time to go through and thoroughly digest, break down the excess calories, the carbs, the fats that you have stored, utilize those effectively before you tap into indulging and adding more resources to your body. So the concept of intermittent fasting is not new. For eons and eons, human beings have utilized this tool, some not necessarily willingly and some willingly due to cultural or religious purposes. If you look at our ancestors didn't have grocery stores to run to, they eat every single day, right? They didn't have surplus of resources accessible every day. They didn't have refrigerator to just go down, couple the hall and tap into to eat. Right. So back then they had to fast. They fasted until they could go and capture, hunt, or gather their food and the resources that they needed. So if you look at history and you look at the previous human being, our ancestors, they were all defined because their body had adapted to preserving every single resources. Their body had adapted to utilizing every single resources that they consume. So they didn't have high body fat percentage that you see, which is prevalent nowadays in our generation. And then also fasting has always been a religious and cultural thing from eons. Specifically for me, I grew up in a Muslim and Christian family. So I grew up watching both sides of the table utilize fasting effectively, but I didn't practice it until I got older. And matter of fact, intermittent fasting is for health purposes is a 21st century creation based off of our ancestors' eating cycle, right? So we realized that they only ate when they needed to eat, right? They were and the act of going and gathering food was so draining that when they would capture it, their food was their reward. So it meant something for them to go because they had to either hunt, they had to gather, or they just had to farm. So now in the 21st century, people are realizing that if they can put themselves in similar scenarios such as our ancestors and refrain from constantly consuming and give the body time and break to actually process and utilize the calories that is already in there. And not only would that lower their body fat percentage, keep them lean, but also help with their brain cognitivity, their focus, and just overall enhance their health and how they feel, right? So intermittent fasting for health is a 21st century invention, but it has been used for eons, whether for religious purposes or unwillingly due to our ancestors having to go and actively capture their food. Specifically for me, growing up in Liberia, which is a third world country, we ate once a day, right? We did not have lunch, breakfast, dinner. All of this stuff was a new theory to me when I came to America, because whenever we would go to eat, the food had to be actively prepared and then we eat. And that means we had to go, if we're eating grains, we had to go to the garden and gather the grains. If we're eating meat, eat, we have to go and kill whatever the protein source was that day and then process it that day to be consumed that day. So that only allowed us to eat once a day, right? And I'll dive more in depth into my personal choice and why I utilize intermittent fasting more in the future. But right now, I just want to give you guys the fact and the science and the history so you can make that decision for yourself as we progress throughout this course. What is the science behind intermittent fasting and why is it good for you? Well, I've touched base a little bit on the concept, but let's dive deeper into it. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting forces your body to utilize its reserve fuel sources such as carbs and fats. This allows your body to increase in metabolic rate, lower your cholesterol, lower inflammation in the body, and even lower your blood sugar level. While utilizing intermittent fasting, it can increase your overall health, lose fat, which is what majority of the people use it for, and increase your longevity, meaning increase your lifespan. And this is done because your body is forced to rid of those extra food sources, extra calories, and also get rid of the excess waste in your body. So it's like pretty much cleaning out the body, cleansing it, and then replenishing it when you do eat and going through that whole cycle over again. So intermittent fasting is phenomenal for you, right? But the difficulty is utilizing it and learning about it and learning which method is the best for you. And that's what we're going to talk about next.